Teresa is a puma who had passed more than 20 years chained in a circus and caught the attention of animal rights activists who fought for her freedom. It was expected that she was going to be able to enjoy life in the wild, but her reaction moved everybody. But the first time circus personnel laid eyes on her as a cub, they knew straight away here would be the main attraction of their variety shows. However, 20 years later, Teresa was anything but the proud puma she once used to be. Knackered by exhaustion, the chains which held her day and night and the lack of hope in her eyes seemed to go resigned to pass the rest of her days in captivity. That changed when a group of animal rights defenders decided to intervene. After many protests and petitions, they managed to free her. It seemed that finally she would have a chance at living on her own. She had been tired, in pains in the body from lack of movement and gnawing hunger which had beset her for such a long time. Being freed from the chains didn't bring the expected joy. At least it would allow her to lie differently inside her cage. She was first taken to a veterinary clinic where test results indicated she was suffering from malnutrition and her muscles were underdeveloped for her age. In the light of this, the group decided to place her in an environment similar to her natural habitat, where she could be looked after and observed until recovered. At first, she distrusted the new space because it was so much larger than the small cage she had spent her life in. She also started to get fresh food in quantities that were greater than any she had ever gotten used to. This pleased her because her hunger had been immense after so many years of scarcity. The puma finally accepted the meat given to her and started to gain some weight and regained her physical strength, while humans asked nothing in return but to help recover her. When fully fit, she would be returned to the wild. On this big day, they put a monitoring collar on her so they could follow her progress closely. On the big release, with a lot of expectation, they freed her to a sanctuary where she would be able to live freely, according to her wild feline instincts. Then a team was put in place to observe her progress. At the instance of release, instead of running to explore the openness around her, what happened genuinely surprised everyone. Everyone thought that Teresa would be so thrilled at last to be free of the constraining she had been living with for so long. The reality turned out very different. Her reaction to her freedom was so unexpected that it brought everybody to tears, as a matter of fact. They set her loose in the middle of a huge plain where she could run and climb up the cliffs nearby. Instead, Teresa ran to the nearest rock, curled up, and was afraid of everything around her. That told through her carriage the behavior of an abused animal, one that had lost trust in her instinctive self and was afraid of what the wild world had in store for her. The follow-up team wanted to reassure her that she was safe, comfort her, and make her feel at ease, but knew that Teresa needed time for readjustment. They couldn't just return her to captivity because she had gotten scared. They were to be patient and allow her to get used to the new environment, difficult as that was. The team had fitted her with a monitoring collar from which they did a live broadcast to enable all people who care about her well-being to track her movements. What they saw wasn't comforting. As the weeks set in and months went by, Teresa still showed a great deal of fear of this new home. Her failure to hunt soon plunged her into malnutrition again. Teresa began to show behaviors completely against the nature of pumas. She soon became a scavenger. Normally, big cats hunt their prey and leave everything else for the rest of the animals. But a lack of hunting skills was forcing her to eat everything that was left behind. Weakened immunity made her sick in no time. One morning, Teresa didn't rise. Nobody was worried at first. She needed some time to get used to her new home. However, after a couple of hours had passed without stirring, the alarm was raised. The transport team quickly took Teresa to the nearest veterinary hospital to the sanctuary. The veterinarians had her under immediate care and gave her everything she needed for recovery. Teresa would take at least a month to feel better physically, though the team was willing to wait. After that time, she was physically healthy but with very retracted and fearful behavior. It was then that the team realized they had to start being more concerned with her psychology. Thus, they returned her to a safe enclosure once again, the one she had been in at the beginning. Then, every day, an animal psychologist would go to her and play with her, telling them how pumas were naturally shy animals, but that she would do all she could to help Teresa. The doctor decided that she would teach Teresa how to live the last years of her life with excitement. Having read several sources about how to get big cats to play, finally the doctor realized that she hadn't tried the most obvious way of getting Teresa moving, yet, finding another animal to keep her company. Soon, they found exactly what they needed, a golden retriever, specially trained in order to improve the mental well-being of rescued animals. Weird as the combination of a puma with a dog sounded, it was worth trying. Teresa had been in captivity for so long that she was quite tame and didn't pose a real threat to the golden. Without further ado, in came the dog into Teresa's enclosure. Golden cautiously started to investigate the space around her and made a note of the setting and the situation. She saw Teresa, but kept a distance to her, not to make her feel unsafe or threatened. Then she lay on her back, showing her venter a submissive sign. The golden still encouraged Teresa to play. After a week together, just by laying around and playing with each other, the doctor started including some toys in the pen. Teresa learned how to use them and have fun with them even when the dog wasn't there. It was as if she became a cub again. Now she could spend her last years in a safe and happy enclosure, occasionally visited by her dog friend and always by the caretakers who gave her the love she deserved. What did you think about this story? Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.